We'll slowly start with the Mangalachara. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We'll sing this song. Vijapati Bhuja, Govardhana Vasa Prardhana, Dashakam. Nijapati Bhuja Danda, Chatra Bhavam Prapadya, Pratihata Mada, Trishto Dhana Devendra Garva, Atula Partula Saila Shreni Bhupa Priyam Me, Nijanikata Nivasam Dehi Govardhanatvam, Pramada Madana Lila Kandare Kandare Te, Rachayati Navayuno, Dvandvam Asna Amandam. Itikila Kalanadham Lagnakastatpayorme Nijapat Nijanikatanivasam Dehi Govardhanatvam Anupama Nivedi Ratnasimha Sanorvi Ruhajvara Dharasanu Droni Sanghe Shuranghe Sahabala Sakibhi Sankhyalayam Swarit Swapriyam Nijanikatanivasam Dehi Govardhanatvam Rasanidhi Navayuno Sakshinum Dhanakele Jyoti Parimala Vidham Shama Vedim Prakasya Rasikavara Kulana Modamaspa Layanme Nijanikata Nivasam Dehi Govardhanatvam Paridaritam Apurvam Radhika Kundamatma Priyasakamiha Sata Narmanalinga Gupta Navayuga Kelastatra Pasyadaho Me Nijanikata Nivasam Dehi Govardhanatvam Sthala Jala Sthala Sashpair Bhuruha Chaya Yacha Pratipadamankulam Hanta Samvarjamanga Trijagati Nijagotram Sankadam Kaya Pame निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वं सुरपतिकृतदीर्घा द्रोहतो घोष्ठराक्षं तव नवगृहरूपास्यान्तरे कुर्वतैव भगभग रिपुग्नोच्चैर्दत्तमानोदुतं मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् गिरिनृपहरिदासा श्रीनिवार्येति नाम मृतमिदमुदितं श्रीराधिका वक्त्रचन्द्र व्रजनवनिखिलकत्वे क्लिप्त वेधैः स्फुरं मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् निजजनयुतराधा कृष्णमैत्रीरसक्ता व्रजनरपशुपक्षी व्रातसौख्यैकदाता अगणितकरुणात्वं माम् उरीक्ष्य तं निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् निरुपाधिकरुणेन श्रीसचीनन्दनेन त्वयि कपटिसातोऽपि त्वत्प्रियेणार्पितोऽस्मि इति खलु मम योग्यतं माम् अग्रानम् निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वम् रसदशकमस्य श्रीलगोवर्धनस्य क्षितिधरपुरभर्तुर्यः प्रयत्नाधीते ससपदि सुखदस्मिन् वासमासाद्य साक्षात् चुबडयुगलसेवा रत्नमाप्नोति तूर्णम्. Is a prayer singing the glories of Govardhan, which was lifted by Lord Krishna as a young boy. So anybody wants to read the translation? Aranya Mataji, can you read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. O Govardhana, O King of all incomparable great mountains, O hill that became an umbrella with the arm of your own Lord as the handle and then destroyed the pride of the Deva king, madly attacking with raised weapons, please grant the residence near you that is so dear to me. O Govardhana, please grant me to the residence near you that will guarantee the sight of the youthful divine couple as they enjoy passionate, amorous pastimes in your caves. O Govardhana, O hill where Lord Krishna happily plays with Balrama and his friends in the incomparable jewel courtyard, jewel lion thrones, trees, waterfalls, mountain brooks, caves, peaks, and valleys. Please grant the residence near you that is so dear to me. O Govardhana, O hill that provides the dark courtyard that witnesses the Dhanakeli pastimes of the nectar, treasure, youthful divine couple, O hill that brings great bliss to the best of they who relish transcendental nectar, please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhana, O hill that hiding as you playfully embrace the neck of your dear friend, Lord Hari's dear, unprecedented Radha Kunda, secretly gazes at the pastime of the youthful divine couple. Please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhana, O hill that by nourishing the cows with its water, grass, and the shade of its trees, declares to the three worlds the appropriateness of its own name, please grant to me residence near you. Govardhana means that which nourishes, Vardhana, the cow, The cow says, "Go." O Govardhana, O hill that the enemy of Agha and Bakha honored by transforming into a new house to give Raja protection from the sustained fury of the Sura king, please grant me residence near you. O Govardhana, O king of mountains, O hill whose nectar name the best of Lord Hari's servants flows from the moon of Sri Radha's mouth, O hill that the Vedas declare to be the Tilaka marking of Vraja, please grant me residence near you. O Govardhana, O philanthropist that gives transcendental happiness to Vraja's people, animal, and birds, all anointed with the nectar of friendship for Sri Sri Radha Krishna, surrounded by their friends, out of your immeasurable mercy, please accept unhappy me and please grant me residence near you. Although I am a cheater and a criminal, unlimitedly merciful Lord Sachidananda, who is very dear to you, has given me to you. O Govardhana, please do not consider whether I am acceptable or not, but simply grant me residence near you. One who carefully reads these 10 nectar verses describing Srila Govardhana, the king of mountains, will very soon reside near that blissful hill and quickly attain the precious jewel of the service of the handsome divine couple.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. It's so beautiful, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So if you go to Vrindavan near Delhi, right? Vrindavana. So I have been there. You can see Govardhan Hill still there. So if you visit Vrindavan, you can see all the pastime places of Krishna, where Lord performed Kaliya, subduing Kaliya, like all the pastimes, so many where Radha was born, Govardhana, and river Yamuna, Kadamba trees, so many, all the stories that you hear in the literature, you would actually witness them there. Vrindavan has about 5,000 temples all over Vrindavan. It looks like a village, but it is filled with temples of Krishna. A beautiful place.
Where is this Prabhuji in India?
Near Delhi.
Near Delhi, okay.
Many people when visiting Delhi, they go to Agra first and then also visit Vrindavan. Important place to visit. Yeah. It's there. All the pastimes of Krishna you can go and witness. You can feel that this is the place of Krishna's birth. Yeah.
Prabhuji, actually in YouTube, there are few videos because after hearing the stories and all, my daughter was asking, where is this like that? So we just went to YouTube and they have some videos are really good. They have shown, like you mentioned, Radha's birthplace, the Mathura fort, and then all those things. So it was really good. So for now, we can see that when chance comes.
Yeah, you can share the link in the group, Madhuja, if you have it.
Yeah, just in the YouTube, there are few videos I searched here and there. I will share whatever I like.
Sure, Madhuja. Thank you. So we are reading the last section of chapter 8. So the chapter began with Arjuna's questions about Adhyatma, Adidaiva, asked few certain questions like that, basic aspects of spirituality, and Lord Krishna answered them. And then this chapter primarily focuses on how one can leave this world while remembering God so that he can perfect. What happens if he leaves by remembering versus when he leaves the body without remembering Lord? The importance of remembering Lord at the time of death, right? That is given. Going back to Godhead by remembering Krishna, performance of pure devotion service, comparing the material and spiritual worlds, which we discussed last week. Right? Krishna talked about how the nature of the material world is, how the nature of the spiritual world is. going where one will not return. Right? Like, so Abrahma, Bhuvana, Loka, all the places in this middle world are temporary, including Brahma's place versus our even Patala. But Krishna's place is different. The Vaikuntha, that plane is different. Once one goes, he will not come back. So that is described. And what is the process to go there? Okay, we understand the final goal is to remember Krishna at the time of death, because the whole life is a preparation. Death is the examination that determines what is your next future birth. So we practice devotional life, we chant every day, we study Bhagavad Gita, we visit temple, all of this so that we can remember Krishna at the time of death. If we can't remember at the time of death, then there is a good chance that one will not achieve perfection. And so that's very important to lead a pure life, all one's life, and achieve perfection. And devotion service is the best process. Practicing devotion service all our life is the easiest way to remember God. Okay? And then one should understand what is material world versus what is spiritual world. That is also described, so that one gets the motivation to actually practice sincerely. Okay? And all of this can be attained by devotion service. That is the last section. We'll go to 26th, 27th. So last week we two ways of passing we discussed. One in the night, one during the Uttarayana, one during the Dakshinayana. Uttarayana is so this one. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of fiery God, means sun God, in the light, at an auspicious moment, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. This is the January to June, or December mid to June. This is the time of festivals. This is the time when summer is there, right? So this is the ideal time to leave this world. And a yogi perfects by going to the destination that he desires. On the other hand, the mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. So this person who lives in the other 6 months, July to December, so he may not achieve perfection. And again, all of this is referring to mystic, not devotee. These are all things practiced by mystic yogis, meaning the Ashtanga yogis who practice the Ashta parts of the Ashtanga yoga, the Yama Niyama Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dhyana, Samadhi. So those people, they try to control their destination. So that is the reason they have to be careful when they leave the world. Sukla Krishne Gati Hyete.
Shukla Krishne Gati Yete.
Jagata Saswate Mate.
Jagata Saswate Mate.
Ekaya Yati Anavrittim. Anyaya Vartate Puna. Please read, anyone? Translation.
According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world. one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. But when one passes in darkness, he returns.
This is summary of the last two verses. This is all done by yogis, right? Naite Shruti Partha Janam
Naite Shruti Partha Janam
Yogi Mukhya Kaschana
Yogi Muhyati Kashchana
Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu
Tasmat Sarveshu Kalesu
Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna.
Yogi Yukto Bhavarjuna.
Yeah, please read. Anyone?
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion.
Yoga Yukto means fixed in devotion. So by devotees know these two paths, but they're not bewildered. Oh, will I be, should I be, is there a danger if I don't leave at the right time? Like that. So they'll not fear because they know Krishna will take care. Yeah. Yeah, Rinku Mataji asking what is passing in dark or passing in light. Passing in dark is the one that is described in the sloka before that. So this one, passing in dark means the mystic yogi who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches to the moon planet, but again comes back. This is passing in the dark. This is passing in the light. Right? So he will not come back. Yeah. Basically, the time is an important factor when one leaves the body. So that was specifically for mystic yogis, because mystic yogi actually tries to perfect by his own strength. And so he has to control when he leaves the body. But for a devotee, he does not do that. Devotee is totally dependent on God, Krishna. So devotees approach, devotees process, they're very different from a mystic yogi. So what we described, what Krishna described so far, they are all specifics for a mystic yogi. So for a devotee, see, although the devotees know the two paths, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. This is the right thing for you. Yeah, so please read this, you'll understand better. Yeah, Mataji, can you continue? Uma Mataji?
Yeah, Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by the different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. A devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. The devotee should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna. He should know the concern over either of these two paths is troublesome.
Hmm.
The best way to be
Yeah, continue.
the best way to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness is to be always, what is that, Prabhuji?
Doubted.
Dovetail in his service, and this will make one's path to be spiritual kingdom safe, certain, and direct. The word Yoga Yukta is especially significant in the verse. One who is firm in yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness in all his activities. Sri Rupa Goswami advises un,
Anasakta Vishayan Yata
Okay, one should be unattached in material affairs and do everything in Krishna consciousness. By this system, which is called Yukta Vairagya, one attains perfection. Therefore, the devotee is not disturbed by these descriptions because he knows that this passage to the Supreme abode is guaranteed by devotional service.
Hmm. Because Arjuna is not practicing mystic yoga. He is a devotee of Krishna. It is said that when Arjuna was sleeping, even his breath, his inhalation and exhalation was sounding like Krishna, 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 like that. So it was mentioned in the scriptures that in his breath, he was always thinking of Krishna. So that is how a devotee is. So this verse is just clarifying Arjuna, you don't need to worry. You are a devotee practicing devotion service. You are devoted to me. I will take care of you. But for others who are mystic yogis who are practicing Ashtanga yoga or Jnana Marga or some other methods, for them, time is a very important factor when they leave this world. Right? For a devotee, it is completely in the hand of Krishna. So he is totally surrendered. He does not care about time. He doesn't care about circumstances. So that's why Prabhupada says, a devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. It doesn't matter how he leaves the body from this world. Even if he dies in an accident, you may think like, oh, what is there? He practiced all his life, but he left the world like any ordinary person. He died in an accident, but it is not like that, right? For example, sometimes a tiger's baby is carried by the tiger, or a kitten is carried by the cat by the neck. Sometimes a mouse is also carried by the cat on the neck, right? But for mouse or the rat, it is death personified. But for a kitten, being carried by the cat by catching its neck is very much like a motherly affection. So for a devotee, it doesn't matter how he leaves the world, it is a safe journey for him because he is always surrendered to God. Whatever happens, God will take care of him. Okay? So externally, it appears, sometimes externally we may not see how bad it can be like. Externally, we cannot judge a devotee's life. He may be like one of us. He may be doing everything like one of us, but he is under full shelter of the Lord. So his his departure is different from others. Right? There is so much difference between a cat carrying mouse versus cat carrying kitten. For the kitten, it is the safest way to go from one place to the other, right? But for the rat, it is death personified. An ordinary person is getting killed in an accident is like a very big shock. But for a devotee, even if he meets an accident, still Lord is there for him to protect always, right? Because he's always absorbed in God all his life. So externally it may appear like, oh, what is the difference between the two? Nothing. But actually it is, for one, it is perfection of life. Right? He's always loved by his, he's always cared by the Lord, devotee. Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva
Vedeshu
Vedeshu
yajneshu
yajneshu
tapassu
tapasya
chaiva
saiva
daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam
daneshu
daneshu
yat
yat
punya
punya
phalam
phalam
pradishtam
pradishtam
atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva
atyeti
atyeti tat
tat
sarvam
sarvamidam
idam
viditva
viditva
yogi param sthanamupayati chadyam.
yogi
yogi
param
param
sthanam
sthanam upaiti
chadyam.
chadyam.
Simple verse. You should try to memorize this. We'll read again. Vedeshu yajna tapassu chaiva
वेदेषु
वेदेषु
यज्ञेषु तपस्सु
यज्ञेषु
चैव
तपसु वा
dhaneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam
ज्ञानेषु
दानेषु
यत्
यत् पुण्यफलं
पुण्यफलं
प्रदिष्टम्
प्रदिष्टम्
atyeti tatsarvidam viditva
अत्येति
अत्येति तत्सर्वम्
तत्सर्वमिदं
इदं
विदित्वा
विदित्वा
yogi param sthanamupayati sadyam.
योगी
योगी
परं
परं स्थानम्
स्थानमुपैति
उपैति
साध्यम्
ख्यात्यम्.
Sagar Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhu. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
See, this is what Lord assures about a person who is practicing devotional life. Such a person who accepts devotional life is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas. Right? There are people who study Vedas. A devotee is not bereft of the results of, because he's not studying Vedas doesn't mean he won't get the result. He will get that. Performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. He's not bereft of any of this. Simply by performing devotion service, he attains all these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode. You see, what more assurance can we want? Right? Just by performing devotion service, meaning chanting the holy name every day, right? Offering whatever you cook to Lord, right? Simple things. Reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam every day. Simple process. Just by doing that, you get the results of all these other things. Studying Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity. So we don't need to do anything else. Just focus on this, remembering Lord all the time. Right? All your life, just chant. That is the best thing in life. There is no better process in Kali Yuga. It's the only simple process that gives you everything that you ever desire in life. Right? And ultimately it gives you the perfection. Continue, Prabhu.
This verse is the summation of the 7th and 8th chapters, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penances while living under his care. And a brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master just like a servant, and he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order, and if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing brahmacharya.
So basically, Prabhupada was describing brahmachari's life. Before that, he said this is the summary of all the verses in 7th and 8th chapter. It's a very important verse. Okay, go ahead, Prabhuji.
After the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20, he becomes a man of perfect character. Study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators, but for the formation of character. After this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. When he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment.
So this was the method in the Vedic times, about like 400 years back. So people were living, practicing Varnashrama Dharma, especially in the Bharat Bhumi, in the Indian land. They were practicing the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. Strictly the from age 1 to 25, he is a brahmachari. He was practicing like this, going to a spiritual master and serving under him like a menial servant, learning the scriptures, become very humble and obedient servant, and also becomes fully equipped with the spiritual knowledge. After that, he enters grihastha life, right? But even as a grihastha, his focus is again spiritual life only, right? He's never after things of the material world, right? So in that way he attains, practices life very, the whole Vedic system, just like today we see capitalism, communism, is a way of organizing the society, right? Capitalistic society is centered around, how to build economy, right? Strong economy. So that is how capitalist society was divided, right? Capitalists are people who, bring people together and, build large enterprises and make money, right? America is a capitalistic society. Socialistic or democratic society are, more socialistic, or where the land is the supreme. In the capitalist society, people are supreme, because people are driven by desires. People want to build things and they drive everything, right? And in the socialistic regimes like China, Russia, where land is the primary thing, everybody is equal, right? It is coming from people who are oppressed in the society, right? The capitalistic movement is by the Vaishyas. Vaishya means there is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, right? Capitalistic society is a society dominated by Vaishyas, business-minded people, okay? And communist society is primarily a society driven by Sudras, or the lowest class. I mean, they they fight for rights. It's like labor class, right? So so that is socialistic society. But the problem is, in these two ways of organizing the society, the whole society was primarily focused on one varna only, either completely capitalistic or completely socialistic. But in the Vedic system, it's also a way of organizing society. There is a clear distinction of 4 types of varnas. All are equal, all are equally contributing. They are like different parts of the body. Everybody is important. And the goal is to facilitate spiritual development. So Varnashram system is the best way of organizing society, a cultured society. That's why it is far advanced than any of these societies can bring. You see, like, so many people now fight that this is the right thing, that's the right thing. In the Vedic society, the materialistic life was never considered the prime goal of life. That's why we see now wars, right? So many wars are going on about who controls the land, which land. People consider one as threat to the other, right? So those were not there, because the whole society was centered around God in the Varnashrama system. Nobody was worried about owning a home, owning properties. But today people are worried so much. The reason is they're far more insecure. Like, for example, my father or even my grandfather, they never worried about having properties or things like that. They were very happy with whatever. Sometimes they they, even like when I was young, whatever my father gets, that's the money for the month. That's all. They never worried about saving or, very simple life. Be happy with whatever you have. That's how it is. But today we always worry about future. Oh, kids' education means that much money. Society was getting complicated, and people are depressed and in a lot of anxiety all the time about their job. These were things that were granted. People were never worried about food in the Vedic times because um, even if you're hungry, people would, especially grihasthas were always accommodative and supportive of the entire society. Meaning, grihasthas were supportive of brahmacharis, vanaprasthas and sannyasis. Everybody was dependent on them. So in that, it's a very different culture because the whole goal was directed towards perfection of life. But today, if you look at people, they're always worried about their bank balance, their properties, how to show off that they are also doing well in the society. So these were never the considerations for people in the past, right? Because there was affection, was family was also like large families used to live together in one home. There was a lot of help. It's a very different society for us to even think about. Yeah, please read from here.
The words idam viditva indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees.
One should, scholarship is not important. Understanding the slokas, how do you apply? What is the main core principles behind it? That is. Yeah, continue, bro.
Chapters 7 through 12 are the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like coverings for the middle 6 chapters, which are especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters, in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifices, charities, speculations, etc. For one can achieve all the results of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, so this is the 7 to 12 where bhakti is focused completely. This is the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And the first 6 chapters where Karma Yoga and Atma Tattva was focused. So that, and the last 6 chapters where the 3 modes of material nature was focused. Those are like coverings, and it's like, in a sandwich, what is the essence? In a sandwich, the whatever is there in the middle, that is the essence, right? So the sandwich, the essence was protected by two loaves of bread, right? So like that, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is in the middle 6 chapters. That's what we are covering right now. Yeah, please continue, Prabhu, this one.
One who has a little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, because in the beginning of the 4th chapter, it is stated clearly that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita.
Only
One should.
devotee can understand, because if you try to understand without a devotional attitude, you won't get the principles. It's like a open secret, but you cannot open the secret without having the right attitude and right approach to Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna also says in the fourth chapter that only through the process of bhakti one can understand this wisdom. Yeah. Go ahead, Prabhu.
One should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is a sign of faith. When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotees association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in the association of devotee, one is placed in devotional service, and this service dispels all one's misgivings about Krishna or God and Krishna's activities, form, past tense, name, and other features. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one's study. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna. This highest perfectional stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the spiritual sky, Golaka Vrindavana, where the devotee becomes eternally happy.
So what happens over a period of time as you practice bhakti? Right? You understand the characteristics, the nama, guna, rupa, and leela of Krishna more and more and more. You understand the nature of this world. You understand the nature of yourself, the soul. And you develop unflinching love and affection towards God. And that love is so deep that you are always blissful just by remembering Lord. That happens to everybody. And as soon as you read a line of scripture, your heart just melts in ecstasy. So that's what Prabhupada is saying here. This highest perfectional stage of life enables a devotee to transfer to Krishna's abode. So when your consciousness get to that level of deep love for Krishna, then it's just matter of time. When you leave the body, you will go back to Krishna. Because your consciousness is filled with Krishna. Right? So our goal in life is to get to that kind of consciousness of deep rooted affection for Krishna. Okay. So how do you develop love for anything? By first knowing about it. So that's what we are trying to do in these classes. We're trying to understand what is Krishna, who is Krishna, and what are his characteristics, and how to approach him. Okay? So what have devotees done in the past? That is in Bhagavatam we learn about it. So in this way, slowly and steadily, we understand the nature of this world, the nature of the self, and the nature of Krishna, and we develop deep attachment, and we start feeling separation from God. That is the highest love, right? You can feel separation from something only if you have love, correct? For example, if your child is out in the college, you feel like you're missing her every day, or missing him every day. You miss because you love him. If you don't have love, you can't miss. Right now, we don't miss Krishna because we don't have that love, correct? But when we develop that natural love, just like we love our own family member, it's more, the love for God is far deeper. And the soul, being covered by material desires right now, is not able to express that love. But with the sadhana, with the practice that we have taken, with the practices of Bhakti Yoga, one develops that deep love for God. That is the perfection of life. Right? As soon as you have such affection, slowly things will change in your life. That affection is important. That's the core principle that we are trying to develop as part of Bhakti, process of Bhakti. Right? Not only for Krishna, it's also for Krishna's devotees. Right? And we hear about Krishna's devotees past times, like Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Kunti Devi. Pandavas, right? Hanumanji, they're all great devotees. Narada Muni, right? By hearing about their stories, by hearing about their pastimes, by hearing about their characteristics, we want to develop those characteristics in our life. Then we slowly become, we become affectionate to Lord and Lord becomes affectionate to us. And that is the perfection of love. That is what we are trying to do as part of bhakti means just love. Love, right now, love is conditional, meaning I love you only because you give me this. Right? That is how the love in this world is. Nobody, if somebody starts speaking harshly to us, we immediately reject them, at least internally, even though he's our teacher or superior or whoever it is. We don't have that kind of a tolerance. But unconditional love means doesn't matter if the beloved rejects you or kicks you down, still your love for him doesn't change. That is called unconditional love. There is no conditions for it. So if you read Chaitanya Sikshastakam, 1 second. So these are prayers written by Lord Chaitanya. In fact, this is the only prayer he has written. It has beautiful verses. It talks about how much he loves Lord, right? Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavajnirvapanam Shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam Anandambudivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadhanam Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Right? So, glory to Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large. Because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon, it is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, Anandambudi Vardhanam. Just by chanting the holy name, it brings so much transcendental bliss. And it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. In the material world, everybody is anxious to be happy in this world. But there is no happiness because everything is temporary in this world. That real happiness is obtained by Sri Krishna Sankirtana, means chanting the holy name of Krishna. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss. It enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Nam namakadi bahuda nisa sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi Durdaiva midrisham janinanuradha. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. Only holy name is enough. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Anybody, anytime can chant these names. O Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Trinadapi sumichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. How can we chant the holy name all the time? Right? What is the quality of our heart so that we can chant the holy name all the time? That is mentioned here. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree. devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So if your mind is like this, like what? It's a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. Right? For example, there is a grass on the street. You just walk by. What happens to the straw? It just bends down. And after you walk by, it just goes back up. Right? It doesn't complain. It just accepts whatever comes in its life. It doesn't think it's a significant, who is this person who is stepping on me? It doesn't question that. That is a state of humble mind. Okay, it doesn't complain, doesn't what do you call it? Revolt. Just accepts the life as it is. Okay? One should be more tolerant than a tree. A tree does not distinguish who is sitting under her. She gives shelter to everybody who sits under her, right? Irrespective. It takes all the heat from the world, from the sun, but it gives cooling shade to the person who is sitting underneath. That is the tolerance of it. And somebody cuts its trunk or even branches, she doesn't complain. She just gives it. Right? Use me in whatever way you want. It doesn't complain. It gives shelter, without expecting anything. It gives fruits. It is there just to serve people. It gives cooling cooling air. It gives fruits. It gives shade. Its life is just about giving. Right? And if you cause any pain to it, it just tolerates. It doesn't complain. It doesn't fall on you. It doesn't, just accepts. Right? So that is how a person should conduct one's life in this world. Devoid of all sense of false prestige. Means, false prestige means in this world, one thinks, I am so and so, I am I'm the CEO, I'm the boss of this company, I have this position. No, if one thinks about his position, I live in America, all these things are false prestiges. Means they are not true. Because why it is false? Because they are all temporary. Today you have a position as CEO of a company. Will you be CEO of the company after 50 years? No. Were you the CEO 50 years back? No. And after, when you leave the body, will the position continue with you? No. Then it's a temporary. If suppose you get on a bus, your journey, you get on a bus and you claim like, this is my seat. Who cares, right? It's just it's a temporary arrangement for you. That's all, because of the ticket you paid for. Similarly, we have paid through our karmas, and now we have something in our life. It doesn't, all the prestige that we feel, oh, I'm so and so, I'm in America, or I have this job, I have position, I have family, I have money, I have home. All these things that we claim, they're all false prestiges, because they are not really with you. They're not with you before, they're not going to be there with you after. You can leave, but they're all going to be here, you will leave. They won't come with you. So that's what it's called false prestige. Devoid of a sense of false prestige means one should not carry any false prestige. What is the real prestige of the jiva? The real prestige of the jiva is that he is the servant of Krishna. That is the only prestige one should feel about. My greatest pride should be, I am the son of the Supreme Lord. I am his eternal part and parcel. I am his servant. I have eternal relationship with. That position nobody can take away from you. That is going to be there life after life. That is your identity. That is the real you. That is the real you. So everything else is false prestige. And should be ready to offer all respect to others, whether he is junior or senior, or he's your servant, doesn't matter. one should be always respectful to others. If your mind is like this, right, in a humble state of mind, thinking lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than tree, and devoid of all sense of false prestige. This is the pure heart. If you have such a state of mind and ready to offer respect to others, everybody, generally we offer respect to others, but in turn we also expect some respect. We need to be recognized. We need to be distinguished. We have such some expectations, but do not expect anything from others. Right? If you have such a state of mind, then you can chant the holy name constantly, incessantly. Holy name flows from your mind like that, and tears would flow from your eyes in ecstasy, in pure ecstasy. Okay, so that is the pure chanting. One should aspire to get there. Right? Yeah. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhakti rahaitu ki tvayi. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. So that is the desire of devotee. He doesn't want money, doesn't want beautiful women or men, doesn't want followers. Right? In this world, everybody wants these things. But a devotee, his only desire is to serve the Lord birth after birth, whether in this world or in Vaikuntha. I just want to serve you. That is the true satisfaction, principle of satisfaction. Right? So he's solely focused on that. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram paditam vishame bhavambudao kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. This is like begging the mercy of the Lord. Right? I am your servitor, I have given you up, and now I am in this ocean of birth and death. You are in ocean means you don't know where is the shore, correct? So that is the state of everybody in this world. So he's begging, the devotee is begging to the Lord, please, only you can do this. You pick me up. I can't even pick myself up because I'm in this ocean. I have no clue where the shore is. You pick me up and place me at your lotus feet. I'm fully dependent on you. You take care of me. Right? So if you have that state of mind, what happens is that's given in the next. Nayanam galada shudharaya vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira pulakair nichitam vapukada tavanama grahane bhavishyati. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love constantly flowing when I chant your holy name? So when you have such a state of mind of dependence, utter dependence on Lord, then tears of love would flow from your eyes. For Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would come like syringes from the eyes. The tears would flow from like syringes from his eyes. When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end with the recitation of your holy name? So when a devotee chants in that state of mind, he would get goosebumps. His voice chokes up just to speak the word Krishna. His voice is totally choked up because he is feeling that ecstatic love for Lord. His hairs on the body stand on end. And this is chanting at a very high state of consciousness. It's far from where we are at the current moment. Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravrasayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Now he has developed affection for Lord, right? So he was slowly taking us one step at a time. Initially, focus on Sankirtan, right? and then the mind, state of mind in which one should chant, and then expressing very clearly, I have no other desire but your service. When one does in this way progresses, then chants the holy name with pure mind, he will have ecstasy and love for Lord. And then naturally he feels separation from God because he has love and he does not see the Lord before him all the time. He feels the separation from him. I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like a torrent of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in this world in your absence. Shunyaitam jagat sarvam Govinda Virahinam. Generally, for us, we feel the whole entire world is shunyam when we lose our money or when we lose our beloved or whoever it is, right? So that is our way of looking at things. But for a pure devotee, he constantly feels separation from Krishna. Because he has love. Once you have love, you feel the separation from him. Ashlishyava padaratam pinastuma adarshanan marmahatam karotuva yata tatava vidadhatu lampato mat prananatastu sa evana paraha. So this is the summary of it. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before him. Right? I know no one but Krishna as my Lord. Means singular. I have a singular husband or Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly. If I love Krishna and Krishna doesn't love me, I don't. It's not my botheration. I still love him because my love is unconditional for him. He doesn't do that. Krishna doesn't do that. But still, devotee is so unconditional in his love. Even if Lord does not reciprocate, he's ready to be, incessantly loving from his side. Even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken heart by not being present before him, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. This is what I'm trying to actually bring. So this is the true unconditional love one should develop ultimately towards Lord. So this is the highest perfection of bhakti, unconditional love for God. That is true bhakti. So we all aspire to get that, right? Yeah. Mataji is asking a question. Does the scriptures or Upanishads also say no condition, but at the same time it mentions some conditions? Does that mean that to get result quickly, condition is required? I didn't understand the question. No condition, but at the same time it mentions something. Yeah, so that for us as sadhana bhaktas, some conditions are required, right? So we need to practice some minimum rounds every day. So that is important as part of, if I understand your question correctly. We set certain conditions until our love becomes natural for God, right? So sadhana bhakti is the initial stage of bhakti, where we chant the holy name because my teacher told me. I have no affection, I have no taste, but my teacher told me, so I will do it. Maybe it will work for me. And the scripture says, teacher says, so I will just practice it. So initially, all of us start like that, but slowly we understand more about Lord, more about his characteristics, more about his pastimes, and then we develop love for Lord. Right? When the natural love develops, then that bhakti is not sadhana bhakti. It is called raga anuga bhakti. Raga anuga means the bhakti driven by a raga. Raga means affection or love. Right? It's not motivated anymore by rules and regulations. Initially, we follow rules and regulations. Okay, we need to wake up in the morning, we need to chant, we need to worship the Lord every day, we need to offer food. So those are done as duties. duties. Dutiful execution of devotion service is called sadhana bhakti. But as devotee advances, he does not do it as a duty because he has developed love for the God. He naturally wakes up in the morning so that he is ecstatic that he is going to chant the holy name of the Lord, because the holy name is bringing so much transformation in his heart. He's experiencing he can see the helping hand of God in his life. Now every day he looks forward to chant the holy name. That is itself his taste is developing in chanting. And slowly that affection deepens and deepens, and he wants to just focus on just this, immersing himself in bhakti, right? That is called bhava bhakti, higher stage. So in that way one advances, and then ultimately even higher than bhava is prema bhakti, right? So in the prema bhakti stage, you're like totally in a state of ecstasy. All your, in all every moment is like living in Vaikuntha only, even though you are in this world. So that is our aspiration. We need to get there, right? That happens with a lot of purification of the heart. It takes time, but it takes sincere effort. Every day we have to chant the holy name. Just stick to the process. It works. It has worked in the past for so many great sages, so many great devotees we hear in the scriptures. We also have so many examples of it in the recent past history also. So the process works. The process is perfect. You don't need to worry about it. It has historical records of so many people who perfected by following this process. Sant Tukaram, Mira Bhai, you name it, Ramadas in South India, Tyagaras. So many great devotees have in the recent past also have perfected, right? So having faith in that, in the process, and in the devotees who have perfected in the past. So we should just have put full faith and sincerity and practice devotion service every single day, and we'll achieve perfection. Okay. So we completed the chapter. If you have any questions, we can discuss for some time. Does all type of bhakti take back to Bhagavan? What do you mean by all types of bhakti, Mataji? Can you share what do you mean by types of bhakti? The real bhakti is, sadhana bhakti. One can perfect his life through sadhana bhakti. Yes, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. They are not three different things. They are different stages, rungs on the same ladder. Begins with sadhana, advances to bhava, and then ultimately to prema. So they are rungs. So a devotee, as he, initially his heart is full of so many things. He desires so many things in this world. But as he advances to bhava bhakti, means that happens through the sincere practice. Through the sincere practice, through the blessings of the devotees, he advances to bhava bhakti, right? So he practices sincerely every day, and through that sadhana he comes to bhava bhakti stage. And from bhava to prema is very quick, because he already has bhava. It's just a matter of time he gets to prema bhakti. Right? So sadhana to bhava is the challenge, because one has to cleanse the heart. A lot of churning process. It takes years and years to get to bhava bhakti. Yeah. If suppose a person passes away while practicing, sadhana bhakti, he hasn't perfected his life, he hasn't purified his heart fully, then he will be given another chance. He will come back to this world, but he is given a, birth in a devotee's family, where devotion service begins at the age of 5, for example, right? So he'll have all the opportunities to become a great devotee, and he finishes his remaining bhakti and goes back to God. That's it. So that is if he doesn't perfect in the current life, right? But if he comes to bhava bhakti, he will go back to Vaikuntha directly. Whether bhava or prema, they're all at a very higher stage. Okay. So if no questions, we'll end the class here. We'll begin the 9th chapter in the next week. Yeah. So there is 4 steps: sadhana bhakti, raga bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. Yes. Yeah. Raga is the beginning of bhava. So people sometimes raga and bhava is combined together as one. I mean, there are further divisions. This is a total scientific process, and Nectar of Devotion is the book that describes the entire process very clearly, how one methodically goes from one level to the other. We don't cover that in Bhagavad Gita, but that is the next book we can study, where we can learn how we can step by step progress in bhakti. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Sagar Prabhu is going to India. We'll miss him. Sagar Prabhu, you want to keep your video on for a minute?
Yes, Prabhu.
We'll pray for you that you continue your devotion service even after going to India, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. I will also attend class
Thank
from
you.
India.
Yeah, you have been always a sincere student, Prabhu. I really appreciate, and I want you to continue the same way you are doing right now. So I'll also give you some, contacts that you can be in touch when you go there.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Love devotees' names. Wonderful. Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Yeah, you're both always there in the classes regularly. So all the devotees, please pray for Sagar Prabhu when he goes to India, that he continues and he joins our classes as well.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We'll miss you here, but you will be there from India and join us.
Yeah, sure. I will attend the classes, Prabhu. Early in the morning.
Yeah. Which is again, it's a weekend, so
Yeah.
Saturday morning should be fine. Yeah. So please let me know if I can be of any service to you, anything I can be of help. Please feel free to ask me anytime.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll end the class here. Please pray for Sagar Prabhu and Mataji. And we'll end the class here. We'll meet again next week. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thanks,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All the very best, Sagar Prabhuji.
All the
Thank you,
best,
Mataji.
Sagar Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thanks. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll end the class. Thank you.